friends, welcome back to my channel. This is Sham here, back again with a new video. In this video, I'll be talking about what are the signs that you can make out whether your company is heading towards layoff. So these are the early warning signs that will basically give you some indication where your company is heading. So as we all know, layoffs are quite common these days. Layoffs are happening everywhere. It's the reality in today's corporate world, and it can happen to anyone at any time. So we have to be prepared. We have to identify where our companies are heading and prepare ourselves accordingly to face them. So without wasting time, let's dive into it. So the first sign how you can identify whether your company is heading towards layoff is you need to keep an eye on the revenue. So if your organization's revenue is declining consistently, that is a clear indication that the company is struggling financially. And in such cases, layoffs could be the potential solution to cut the costs and improve the bottom line. So always keep an eye on the revenue. That will give you an indication. The second sign, when we talk about revenue, the second sign is about the profits. So when you see a decrease in profits, while the revenue tells us how much money is coming in, profit will always give you an indication of how much money is left out, cutting all the expenses. So if your company's profits have been shrinking over time, then it's possible that the company may be looking at ways to cut down the cost. This might include a layoff as well. Now, the third sign. So, if there is a frequent change in the management, right? If you notice a sudden change in your leadership, sudden change in the organizational structure, there are highly chances that the team or the leadership is going to look at those business units or those teams which are non-performing or redundant or which do not contribute anything to the revenue, and they will reassess whether those teams are really required, whether they can be merged. So it's all part of the restructuring that goes as a part of the long-term strategy that they would have, right? So if your team or if your project is the victim of this entire restructuring process, then there are chances that they might ask you to leave, or they might ask you to leave the project or join some other team. So this could potentially have some or the other impact on the layoff, right? Because layoff could be the end result of this entire restructuring process. So if there is major restructuring happening in your organization, or if you see a lot of frequent changes in your top brass, then it's one of the indication that there might be layoffs coming in. Now, the fourth sign that you can watch out for is the hiring and travel freeze. And basically, I want to generalize it as a freeze on everything, right? So usually it starts with the hiring. So let's say if your company has a history of hiring on a regular basis, they suddenly stop hiring new people. They cut down the costs on training, any additional external training that you want to apply for, or any internal trainings which has more cost. So those things will be cut down. And of course, there will be a freeze on the travel, the business travels, the time that you spend at the customer location, or maybe it's only on a need basis, or there could be a total freeze on the business travel entirely. So these are some of the signs that can tell you that okay, they are trying to cut down the costs. They want to ensure that the finances are taken care of, just to avoid layoffs. So this is not necessarily that they will ask you to leave, or it's a complete pink slip that they would give, but it's an indication that the company is not going in the right direction. So maybe it's the time where you can think of moving out of the organization, or just be watchful about how things are moving on. Now the last sign is the fifth and the final sign is the overall decrease in the work. When you don't see any projects coming in, or when you see a sudden decrease of the projects, you don't see any SOWs getting signed, or there is nothing much in the pipeline that is projected for. So this is a major indication that there is going to be a layoff, because it's going to impact the revenue, the profits, and everything, right? So Just keep a watch on these top 5 signs, and always be prepared is what I would recommend. uh, do not rely on your organizations for your training, your certifications. Be ahead of the curve in getting your certifications, training done. Update your resume, ensure that you are marketable in the job market. And if you're someone who's looking for a resume rebranding or a career coaching, or if you want to steer your career into project management, do reach out to me. There's a link in the description down below. You can reach out to me. I can help you in that front. So that being said, I'll sign off now. So I'll talk to you in the next one. Thank you.